I haven't done a new Every Inaccuracy video in about 3 months, so I decided to do another one, this time being for LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean. There aren't any other LEGO Pirates games, but if you want to see more Inaccuracy videos, please let me know in the comments. Before we start, I should probably clarify that this game doesn't include the 5th film in the series, since it came out years after the game. Now, onto the video. The first two inaccuracies are in the flashback scene. First of all, the young version of Will Turner never had an eye patch in the movie. It's the same thing with the parrot. Both of these things were probably added to signify that Will is a pirate without dialogue. In Port Royal, the first inaccuracy is when Will Turner presents the sword. During the movie, he presented it before the ceremony started. When Jack Sparrow is found, Mr. Brown wasn't originally awake when it happened. When Mr. Gibbs is woken up, the game shows him getting hit from a bucket of water that fell down on him, despite the fact that in the film the water bucket was thrown by Jack Sparrow. There are certain times in this movie where characters tell stories through dialogue, and because LEGO games didn't originally have dialogue, the game sometimes chooses to tell these stories through digital puppetry. In the intro of The Black Pearl Attacks, it's implied that Will Turner saved Elizabeth from a Black Pearl ship. This was a complete change from the movie where it was actually on an island. In the second midtro of the same level, Jack and Elizabeth never went to the bottom of the ship to find the medallion, only Will did. In the outro cutscene, Will Turner wasn't lifted onto the ship unconscious in the movie. He actually got to the Black Pearl on his own. The part of the cutscene where Jack accidentally extinguishes the fire was completely made up for the game and is no equivalent in the movie. And now on to Dead Man's Chest. When Will found Jack in the start of the movie, he wasn't being prepared to be eaten just yet. And, while Will and Mr. Gibbs were put into balls when they were captured, they weren't put into different ones. For the final one in this level, while the game showed Will, Jack, and Mr. Gibbs being chased, in the film Will and Mr. Gibbs are already on the boat at this point, and Jack is the only one being chased. In the outro of The Dutchman's Secret, there are a couple of inaccuracies. The first one is that the time of day was completely changed, from day in the film to night in the game. The second is that when the ship was destroyed, Will actually was on the ship in the movie. And finally, he didn't go from ship to ship on a boat. On Isla Cruces, Jack Sparrow wasn't ever on the wheel when it was still connected to the building. The way that Jack finds out that the jar doesn't have the heart in it was changed between versions. In the movie, the jar broke and no heart came out. When the explosion happened on the ship, Will Turner wasn't actually incapacitated in the movie. When the rest of the crew left, the game shows Elizabeth staying along despite the fact that in the film, she had already left. There are multiple times where the game leaves out some of the crew from the movie for unknown reasons. With Dead Man's Chest in the books, we're halfway there. Now to At World's End. Even though the game shows the pirates getting along in the Singapore intro, they are actually to the point of fighting each other in the movie. Another inaccuracy in this cutscene is the fact that Mr. Gibbs and most of the other pirates were on the same floor as Captain Barbossa and Elizabeth. In the ending cutscene, the way that the British were sabotaged was changed. It was originally an explosion, but in the game it was changed to an elephant falling down on them. When the crew arrives in Davy Jones's locker, they didn't actually land on top of the ship in the film. While the game had Will Turner falling off the ship on accident, he was actually let off the ship on purpose in the film. The scene where James Norrington dies was another one that was changed. By the time Elizabeth had climbed on the rope, he had already seen Bootstrap Bill in the movie. The way that Jack was able to obtain the chest is different between the game and the movie. The game shows him get it through a barrel, while in the film he walked in through the room and grabbed it while distracting the guards. In the same cutscene, the person who Davy Jones took the key from was changed. It was originally a British officer, but for some reason it was changed to Will Turner. The outro cutscene had one thing changed. Will Turner wasn't the one who stabbed the heart in the movie. It was actually Jack Sparrow. That's it for At World's End. Now to the final one, On Stranger Tides. In the opening of the movie, Ponce de Leon's notebook wasn't actually stolen. Even though Mr. Gibbs was imprisoned in London in the film, he wasn't present at all during the dining scene with the king or the escape. The place where Jack meets his dad was changed. It was originally outside, but in the game it's inside the pub. There are multiple times throughout the game where characters are wearing clothes that are completely different from the ones they are wearing in the movies. The fate of the cook was another thing that was changed. In the film, he was flamed to death. In the intro of A Spanish Legacy, Jack Sparrow wasn't actually pushed into the river. He did it on his own will in the film. In the same cutscene, Jack is shown using his compass despite the fact that at this point in the movie, he didn't have it. When Jack was able to reclaim the chalices, Barbossa never at any point was holding one of them in the film. The Fountain of Youth intro is inaccurate due to the fact that by this point in the movie, Blackbeard had already gotten the tear. The final inaccuracy is in the ending cutscene of the movie where Captain Barbossa gets his hat from an unknown person, compared to the movie where he got it from one of the other pirates. That's it for the inaccuracies in this game. The amount of inaccuracies was incredibly consistent, which isn't something I can generally say about the other film series that I've gone over. I'd like to acknowledge my channel members. Jack Chap 1, and R. Pi Howard. Thank you for your support. I'll see you all soon. Thanks for watching.